Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. SLIN, and my goal is to help you get better at competitive Team Fortress 2. Now, this is a little bit different from what I mostly do on my channel. I've realized that pretty much all the videos on my channel have been geared towards an advanced audience, and I wanted to do something a little different today. I wanted to create a series that focuses on building up your skills from the ground up. Like, literally, if you just started playing competitive today, the process of things you need to learn and go from start to finish to get you through, like, okay, like, how do I set up my configs and which class should I be playing, and how do I get good. And that's my objective, is to make sure that you are the best player possible. So I want to start by helping you figure out what class you want to play, and we're going to start with a little bit of story time. I started playing TF2 7 years ago, back in 2008, and I was a spy main. I was in a clan. I was in ESG, which I think is the elite spy group, and we were the most elite of spy groups. Like, if you can imagine all the spy groups, we were the most elite. I was terrible at the game. I remember, like, I would get like a chain stab of 2 or 3 in a row, and I'd think I was a badass. Like, I could do like a sideways flick stab, and I was like, dude, nice, got that on lock. And I was terrible. I had, I think, 100 hours on the class, and I was like, man, I can't believe I hit 100 hours on just spy alone. And now, like 9,000 hours later, I have like 1,300 hours on medic, I think. So I've put a lot of time into this game. That makes me especially qualified to escort you guys through this series. So I'm going to help you figure out what class you want to play. Now, for me, when I started playing competitive, there's 4 classes that you would choose from, right? Soldier, Demo Man, Scout, or Medic. All the classes are pretty straightforward, but certain classes are harder to pick up for new players. Soldier and Demo Man specifically have a lot of mechanics that you need to learn up front before you can even start playing the game. Rocket jumping, sticky jumping, just different mechanics that are actually quite difficult for a new player to learn. And the other 2 classes, Scout and Medic, are a lot easier for new players, especially when you're just getting into the game. So if you come from an FPS background where, let's say you're good at Counter-Strike or Quake or some other game, you might be really familiar with just hit-scan weapons. You just put the crosshair on the person and you click. Pretty simple, very easy to understand, and that's what makes Scout so good to play. And that's the class that I started playing when I first started playing the game, is because you don't need to understand rollouts. You just run in a straight line, and then you can like click on people and then double jump, and that's pretty much all you need to know about Scout. So that's the class that I recommend for most new players when you're just looking to get into the game. It's a really great way to pick the game up, especially when you don't need to know game sense. You don't need to know like anything crazy. All you do is like look at what your teammates are shooting and shoot the same things. Perfect. Medic is also very easy because you're not leading the group, you're following the group. So the group is running around and you're just following the group and healing everybody up and making sure that they're happy. That's easy too. So those are the 2 classes that I would recommend if you're first starting to get into the game. Now, if you're a little bit more familiar with the game, you know how to rocket jump, you know how to sticky jump, or you're just trying to decide which class you want to play next, my recommendation is to pick the class that you think is the most fun. Pick the class that you enjoy the most, that sort of that gut feeling that kind of pulls you and says, you know what, you're meant to be a Demo Man, man. I think you're, I feel that Demo Man. Like, we have a connection there. I really like playing Demo a lot. Then play Demo Man. It has nothing to do with like which is the best class in the game, or which one's the best for my TF2 career, or what's gonna get me to invite the fastest. Just pick the class that you're gonna be able to put a lot of time into and really enjoy, because that's what the game is ultimately about, is having fun. And if you pick a class just because it's good, or just because you think you saw someone else playing it, you're like, I just want to be just like Banny. I want to be just like him. Well, you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you're not having fun. So it's most important to have fun. Pick the class that just you feel like you're best at, that feels like you really enjoy the most. So for me, that class is Medic. I tend to play healing classes in a lot of the games that I play, and like MMOs, like pretty much every MMO that I've ever played, I've played a healing class in. And Medic for me just makes the most sense. I like playing support roles. I like helping other people. It's just like, it's an execution based class. There's not it's not about like big plays. It's about consistency and like constantly winning. That's what I like about medic. So pick the class that's fun for you. Now, the other question that I get a lot is which class is the strongest class in the game? And the answer to that one is actually Scout. So the class that is the easiest to pick up is also the hardest class to master, I would say. It's also the most challenging class, and it's also a class with a very high skill ceiling, because when you're playing at the highest levels of the game, Scout is extremely difficult. It's mechanically challenging, meaning that, like, let's say we're going to fight a 1v1, it's very like black and white. Like, I'm going to hit all my shots or I'm not going to hit all my shots. Whereas on a class like Soldier or Demo Man, if you miss a little bit here or there, there's splash rockets, there's a little bit of forgivingness to it. In a Scout, it's like you're killing them or you're not killing them. The other difficult part about Scout at a high level is that you have a lower amount of HP, so you really have to understand exactly the limits of your opponent if you're going to outplay them. And I would liken Scout to AD carry in League of Legends, or just like a glass cannon in most games, where you don't have a lot of health, but you have a lot of kill potential, and your team is also relying on you heavily to carry them to victory, because that's what Scout's all about. It's all about cleaning up, it's about doing a lot of damage, and you need to always be alive. So, and that's just because Scout's just so powerful right now. Like, Scout pretty much beats every class in a 1v1 and has the most like versatility to it. So it's like air control and ground control, and it's so good. So Scout would be the best class in the game right now. The other question, which one is the hardest class to play at an invite level? We already answered that. Scout's the hardest, but you know, I would also argue that Pocket is extremely difficult as well, especially if you're playing with a shotgun, because you need to understand how to use two different primary weapons, the rocket launcher and the shotgun. Plus, you need to understand how to do rocket jumping and playing around the team, and most of the time the Pocket Soldier is main calling as well, so you really need to have an understanding of how the team works. But yeah, I would say those are different classes. One of the classes that people really underrate at a high level is Medic. And I know you're like, oh, SLIN, you're just saying that because you're a Medic main. But Medics actually get really difficult at high levels, just because you, again, need to have an understanding of what your teammates are doing and then predict what they're doing, and then like think a couple steps ahead. So you might be at 30% Uber and you're like calculating what the enemy medic's Uber is at, and you're just like trying to weigh the pros and cons and trying to figure out what you should do in the next situation. You're thinking a couple steps ahead as far as like what you want your teammates to do and who you should buff next. And at like the highest levels, Medic is like always strapped for heals, like just trying to heal everyone up. Like, one of the things that you'll learn, like lower level medics try to buff everybody up to full health, maximum health, but at higher levels you try and move faster with lower amounts of health to take advantage of small advantages. It's really interesting. That's what makes TF2 so much fun. And I really hope that you guys enjoy the game. So again, this series is all about helping you guys figure out what it is that you need to do in order to become a better player in TF2. Hopefully you'll learn some things here. Hopefully it's not too boring. Hopefully I entertain you guys, and hopefully you learn a lot. So definitely leave some feedback to me in the comments, and enjoy the rest of the series. See you in the next video.